We've always had each other's back. There's been times where you or I had to take an extended amount of time, and I will step up. Like, I don't worry about Joey being gone. I got his back. And you the same for me. Like, when my grandma, you were like, I got Jackie's back. She doesn't need to be here. And we defended each other through it all. And it's so hard to find that kind of friendship in a workplace, I feel like, It's been me, you, and then Martine. I'm sorry, Martine's always been there for us as well. And we all defend each other and we all lift each other up. And I feel like this place is actually, I know people don't think it should be like a family work, but it is. For us, it is.
Waking you up. It's The Big Show.
Wake up.
With Joey and Jackie.
The number one morning show.
Welcome, everybody, to The Big Show on the FM, the podcast. My name is Joey.
I'm Jackie.
We are excited to bring you episode 2, and thank you to everybody who has been checking us out all throughout social media. Remember, you can subscribe on our YouTube channel and also follow us on our social media pages on Instagram as well as Facebook.
That's right. You can interact with us as well. So the comments, start talking. We'll talk back. It's going to be a great time. So, yeah, I hope you interact today.
That's right. We look forward to the conversations we're going to be having, the stories we're going to be telling. Of course, we got a lot to get to today. And, of course, we'll also wrap things up with a little bit of story time with The Big Show. You guys heard us talk a little bit about, some of the stuff that we've been through over the past 12 years. And I thought it was cool that we have like a kind of story time of some of the many things that we've discussed over the years. But I say let's go ahead and get to it. And we got a couple things to talk about. And, Jackie, if you want to go ahead and kick us off.
Okay, so let's see, Joey. We're going to kind of talk about, we were off air a little bit ago, and we were thinking about things we talked about last week. And so last week, we were talking about great memories we had on The Big Show. And I know yours and mine were kind of the same. You said it was when I got engaged, and I said it was when you got married on air. You and Cindy, me and Jim got engaged. And so with that said, how did you and Cindy meet? You guys have a long story behind you, right?
So for those that don't know, Cindy and I, we actually grew up in the same small little town. We went to the same school. We've known each other most of our lives. We were high school sweethearts. And then we reconnected in Las Cruces many years later. And high school sweethearts grew up, got back together, and it all started on a simple school field trip. I always tell her, and this is how nerdy I was. I was so nervous. Yeah, still
Sorry.
But I went up to her. We were doing a class project, and they said, okay, you need to get people to be a part of your group. And I went up to her, nervous, sweating. You would have thought I was about to ask her to marry her then and there. But I went up to her, and I said, you want to be in my group? And she said yes, and I took that as she's gonna marry me. So we didn't
you
just
didn't take it as you knew.
I was like, oh no, she's gonna marry me. This wasn't a group project. At this point, she is committed to me for the rest of her life at 16.
Yes,
so we're at 16.
That's so awesome.
She said, yes, I want to be in your group. That means we're gonna have a whole family and we're gonna grow old together.
That is so awesome.
And for you and Jim, how is your story? Your guys are fascinating.
It started off in high school as well. Jim, first of all, I loved skateboarders. That's the kind of guys I like on skateboards, and he was like the best skater at the high school. Like, he was the best. In fact, I was in a program called Nightly News, and we do videos and the news weekly. And so I always had my camcorder with me. And so my mom got me a camcorder, but I was not using that for good because I would follow the skater guys, filming them. That was my excuse to go near them. And there is one segment in the Nightly News, anyone from Onatha from class of 2000, maybe a little earlier, there was one segment in the beginning of the news segment where there was a guy skateboarding off of was it a table or something in the back off to the he did this awesome trick, and that was me filming Jim. And Jim didn't talk in high school at all, but I so was in love with him. He was so the perfect skater. And so I would follow him around sometimes with my camera. I was a little creepy. He didn't talk to me. I was shy, he was shy. And then we reconnected afterwards. Once we were here in 2012.
Yeah.
August of 2012, we were on The Big Show, and I saw his friend Pete, his best friend, his brother from another mother, and he posted a picture of Jim's sister and Jim, but Jim had his government name James at the time on Facebook. I'm like, there's Jim, because I looked for him on Facebook for a while.
And you're good at finding people on Facebook, by the way.
I could not find him.
FBI, if you ever find a new career, Jackie will find people on social media for you.
That's my next hustle. If I ever quit radio, but I added him. Within seconds, he added me back, seconds. And ever since then, he came to visit me. He was my my Christmas party date, right? He drove in from New York City because he was working on Broadway at the time for sound, and he came down from New York City. It was my Christmas day, and then we just never separated. And then he moved down to Las Cruces. So
us meeting Jim for the first time, meeting him, we actually saw him.
That was hilarious.
We saw him at El Patio, so we were gonna meet prior to going to the Christmas party, and we're like, I think that's him. I think that's him. That looks like the picture. I think that's him. And then when we found out that it was him, and then ever since then, I mean, you guys are just
inseparable.
Are awesome, inseparable.
Yes, you and Cindy as well. Though you have an awesome story. Now you have a beautiful son, Maddie.
Yeah, and that one is just that's an even more of a fascinating story too, because we mentioned this last week on the episode. He Maddie calls you Auntie Jax and Uncle Jim. And it's so fascinating because, he knows, as he's getting older, he knows that, Auntie Jax and Uncle Jim, and he just, it's so amazing to see just him growing up and watching you two and watching us. It's just, it's so cool just to see.
He's an interesting character growing up. Like, it's so cool seeing his personality come out, Isn't it? Isn't it cool seeing that kids are what they are? Like, Maddie's personality now will go throughout the rest of his life. And I say that because recently I found a video of me as a little kid. And in this picture, in this one, I'm painting a picture. And I'm painting the picture black. I've always been that way. My mom found a VHS a couple years ago when I was in second grade. And I'm like, my name is Jackie. I'm 7 years old. And my favorite color is black. I have never changed. Isn't that
never
weird?
have.
So it's weird. Like, Maddie's personality now is going to be like him when he's older, just a little more mature.
You know what's scary, though, when you look at Maddie, though? Maddie is going to be much more adventurous than ever I was as a kid.
That's amazing.
And it's fascinating because I was a shy kid. And you and I have mentioned this, too.
Yeah.
We were really shy when we were younger.
Yeah.
And knowing that he is going to be fearless and just be so confident.
That's
and
everything
just
you wish you wore, right?
Oh, I
Which
wish
you
I
always
was
want the
like
best
that.
for your kids.
You really do. And so now just to see how confident he is, and boy, the daredevil things that he does scares me too, because I'm just like,
yes.
Oh. Now I know why my mom used to get nervous too for her kids, because she's like, these boys are just going to drive me insane.
Me and Sophie were not adventurous. We're very quiet. No, I was kind of adventurous a little bit. I drive my bike off the back of trucks and stuff. I thought that was fun. But Eddie, my brother, was so like he wanted to do everything. He's like Maddie. He wanted to go have adventure. He wanted to do some scary stuff, and it didn't scare him. He wasn't scared of anything, you know. So he was my mom's, adventurous child, and Fernando's he's like us.
It's like less adventure, more
safety.
Yeah, more safety. I appreciate the more safety. But it's so cool. And then just with the development that you and I have had over the years, it's just far doing the show. And, you often hear us say, it's not even a show. We're family. Because, we've been through all the ups and downs, being at each other's weddings, being a part of each other's lives. We mentioned Maddie. You were there for the whole thing with Maddie. You were there from, when he was born to, when we, brought him home to, him meeting his Auntie Jax. And it's just, it's so amazing. So he's very lucky to have you and Jim.
He has a good support system. He's good parents.
Definitely does.
Joey, another question I want to ask you. So, we've been doing radio for a bit, but was there ever another job you thought you wanted growing up?
So, when I first moved here, I didn't think I was going to do radio.
Yes.
So my first thought was going to be either I was going to be a writer.
Nice, okay.
Or I was going to end up doing something in agriculture. And you guys have probably heard us talk about this in the past. I was working for NMSU. I was working for the Chili Pepper Institute.
Yes.
When I was first here, and then I got a job here. I slowly saw the shift into media, but I really thought I was going to pursue something in agriculture because, I grew up around agriculture my whole life, and I thought, okay, that just seemed like more of the safer bet. The writing thing, too, I just always liked to jot things down. But then when this opportunity came, I just did not imagine that. I wanted to do behind the scenes, and I think both of you and I have said this too.
Yes, me too. I wanted to work behind a camera, not in front of.
Yeah, I wanted to be the producer. They always said you're going to be the producer. So when they put you in front of the microphone, you're like, well, who's going to want to hear anything that I have to say? And now, here we are 18 years later. I had never thought it would have been. And, you eventually get to that point where you're going to make a decision like, do I continue with doing agriculture or pursuing that, or follow this? And it was scary though, because you're just like, I think I'm gonna do this. And yeah, didn't look back, and
Nice.
here I am 18 years later. What about you? What did you think you were going to do?
As a kid, I wanted to do hair really bad. My mom was a barber growing up, and so I was always fascinated with, cutting hair. I kind of thought it would be awesome to be in radio and DJ, and then I thought maybe, I'd work on the other side and do news, like reporting and such. And then I realized I didn't like to be behind a camera, which we're here right now. But, I wanted to be the one behind a camera. And so, I did radio for a little bit. As you well know, I worked under a guy named Steve Krasno that I was doing board operating with, and I learned a lot from him. I did college radio. I got a little stint in radio. Then I quit radio, so I'd never come back. And then this job offer happened. There was a job opening here. My mom forced me to apply, dragged me here. I said I would never do radio again. And she's like, radio's for you. I know it is. And here I am.
So it's crazy, you getting hired here. I remember the process of you getting hired. So obviously when, somebody's, looking to apply at a radio station, you go through a thing that's called an air check. And you obviously send voice samples. And I think in your case, they actually had you come into the studio and read something.
Yes, I had to record something.
So what they did is at the time, and keep in mind, I was, still fairly new to the airwaves, still fresh, and I remember them bringing everybody into one room, into an old production room that we had, and they played 2 voice samples, and they played one, and we're like, okay, and then they played yours, and I remembered yours so distinctly because, and I don't
nasally,
but you know what it was is like I felt like I was like somebody that I knew. It was so weird to me
because we were meant to be.
Exactly. But it was so weird because our boss at the time is asking, do you guys like voice number 1 or voice number 2? And it was unanimous. It was yours. And then he's like, I'm going to play it again. And I was like, no, it's voice number 2. But I just felt a certain way. And then they started saying, I was like, well, this person's going to be on Hot 103. And I was like, well, it's got to be voice number 2. It's got to be yours. And it was just crazy how it all kind of built up, and then being able to tell you that later is like, oh yeah, they had this whole thing, they tried to switch up the voices, they tried to do all this stuff, but it's like yours just always stood out.
On my side, I remember, because like I told you, my mom dragged me here, and I remember walking in and seeing people I knew that did some of the radio stuff with me, and I went home. My mom called me and she's like, Mija, how'd it go? I said, it went horrible. She's like, why? I'm like, everyone in the office deserves that job but me. I'm not going to get that job. I know one of the people personally, they're way better than I am. And she's like, no, this job is yours, Mija. I know it's yours. I feel it. I know it's yours. And then I had another interview. Yeah. And I remember at the time, I'm not going to say names of this person, but I remember they called me into their office and they're like, okay, we're going to do a second interview, but I'm not too sure about you. They try to make you feel like you're not going to get hired. And so they told me, I'm going to have you meet Trinity, shout out to Trinity, and you're going to go in the Hot 103 studio. You're going to talk to her for a bit, and she's going to go ahead and check you out and see if you're good for Hot 103. So I go in the studio, and I believe you might have been in there as well, because that was Joey's co-host before. I love her. She did so much for me. And she's like, okay, she got, kind of started, and then she looked at me, she's like, you got the job already. I don't know why he just didn't tell you. Let me give you a look around. We're going to show you, and then when you go back in there, just pretend, I went and drilled you, but you already got it. I already know you're hired. So it was so cool, being welcomed to that family. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be. It was really cool.
But it's, it's crazy with everything how it kind of started. And then learning about your background, just the stuff that, you have such a fascinating story just from the journey that it took to you to get here. You have worked with iconic voices, memorable voices. You've done, certain things. You've launched certain opportunities that I don't think oftentimes people realize. There's a lot of behind the scenes that people, when they turn their dials, that they don't realize at some point in time, you had a major part in that, and it's so fascinating.
See, this is why I'm with Joey as a co-host. He's like my hype man. I it here.
But it's so crazy though, because I think you and I do a really good job of hyping each other up, because
yes.
You look at just over the years of some of the different things that we've done, from launching a radio station to a morning show, and now doing this. This is definitely something that's out of our comfort zone.
What I think's really cool about being a team with you, Joey, I feel like we have seen some dark times here. We really have, whether it was our jobs on the line, which that happened quite a few times, or we've had losses in a family or something, we've always had each other's back. There's been times where you or I had to take an extended amount of time, and I will step up. Like, I don't worry about Joey being gone. I got his back. And you the same for me. Like, when my grandma, you were like, I got Jackie's back. She doesn't need to be here. And we defended each other through it all. And it's so hard to find that kind of friendship in a workplace, I feel like,
Yeah.
It's been me, you, and then Martine. I'm sorry, Martine's always been there for us as well. And we all defend each other and we all lift each other up. And I feel like this place is actually, I know people don't think it should be like a family work, but it is. For us, it is.
And I don't think, and this is just a little pull behind the curtain, especially when it comes to the radio business. Unfortunately, in our industry, you can see, hey, you're the best, and then we're seeing our industry just clear out. You hear of massive layoffs.
People that don't deserve to lose their jobs in this industry lose them.
And they're being replaced, or they're just that radio station's gone tomorrow. We've been very fortunate enough, especially in this community, because, by the way, guys, those watching and those that listen, you guys make a difference, especially because, when you guys let your voices be heard, they're hearing that. They realize, so it does make a big difference, and it's sad to see the way that our industry is going, but it also is hopeful because there is a lot of talent out there that I think one day is going to get their shine on many platforms, whether it's radio, whether it's through voiceover work, whatever the case may be.
Yes.
There's many things that people can do, and I think you and I have been very fortunate, very blessed to continue to do this because,
definitely,
guys, it is very rare to hear of a morning show going 12 years. I mean, you don't hear about that. I mean, you may hear of the legendary shows that have been doing this, but
it's not even their fault either.
Yeah.
It's the people in charge of the stations.
It wasn't by their choice. They can keep going. They could have the best, but they can be gone tomorrow. And it's such a crazy thing. And the journey that we've been able to take, and like you said, the fact that we're family at this point, there's no going back. We're stuck together forever.
It's kind of funny. We'll go into the store and I'll be like with my husband, or you'll be with your wife, and we each get questions like, "Where's Joey? Where's Jackie?" And we're like, they're not with us right now. We have lives outside of work, but it's cool. It's cool hearing that they expect us to always be together. Or we'll be at a gas station, like, picking on each other, and they're like, "Oh, y'all like that in real life?" We're like, "That's us."
This isn't a front, right? No, this is really how we are. We don't change for nothing. This is exactly how we stay.
So, do you have any questions for me now?
So I thought we'd hit with some of the topics that have just been kind of out there over the last couple of days, and I thought this would be kind of cool, especially for those that are watching or listening. You guys can probably think of a situation where this has maybe happened to you. So earlier we had talked about a lady who found a tooth inside a cake that she recently purchased. So a woman in Florida, she purchased a cake for a birthday party, and she found a tooth, an actual person's tooth in it. And this takes me back to a time where maybe you found something in your food. I know you've been in a situation where you found something, or you didn't even find something, but you maybe a time where you found something in food.
In my food.
Okay, so talk about a time that you found something that shouldn't have been in there, not a body part.
Twice I've found hair in my food. It's gross.
Yeah.
And I don't gross out easily. That was a bit much.
So hair, not a toenail.
No,
no toenails.
No toenails for me. We're good.
I had and I told you
That's
about
an inside joke, by the way.
Yeah, somebody thought they found. You could probably tell it better.
They thought they found a toenail in their food. It was actually a sliver and an onion. And the person at this restaurant was like, "No, that's an onion." And the person that was having lunch was like, "No, it's a toenail." I witnessed all this, by the way. And that waiter got so mad. He was very calm, but he bit into it like to prove it was an onion. And then the person at lunch that was there was like, "Oh, sorry." It was such a big spectacle. So that's what we're talking about here.
And it was no need to be when it was simply an onion.
Right. It was an onion.
I got a cup of coffee, and I still get grossed out about this. So I got a cup of coffee, and then I went to open it, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna use the same cup because I'm cheap. I'm not gonna dirty a dish.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and I opened up my cup to pour some coffee in, and when I looked in, I was like, oh, is that a ground for some coffee? Maybe it was at the bottom of the coffee. It was a whole fly.
Oh, that's
right.
That
was just floating in this coffee. I got so grossed out. I think I just puked right then and there in the in the kitchen. That I just puked because I saw this fly, and Cindy's like, "What's wrong?" Like, I think she thought I got like really sick, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there was a fly!" And in my head, I just drank this fly's whole family.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, "Oh yeah, I just drank 6 flies."
That's so
and
disgusting.
Thought that they were chocolate chips. Which, by the way, why would there be chocolate chips in your coffee? You just got straight up
so
coffee.
True.
But no, I drank a Bug's Life. and got so grossed out. Until this day, I will not go to that place ever again. I mean,
No,
first of
yeah.
all, they don't really sell. They're not. Their specialty isn't coffee.
It's not. It's not.
So why did I decide to get coffee from there? But
We'll just say
yeah.
it's a fast food restaurant. There's nothing. Yeah.
That's
Me
all.
and
of it.
Joey don't like calling out bad,
No.
things on businesses because,
Yeah.
Joey's learned from that in the past.
Yeah, I have learned from that. You can thank Quiznos as for why they're not in town
Joey
anymore.
got in a lot of trouble for that one, and that was before me and him were together. He was with Trinity, and they had a morning show, and you didn't think they were around anymore, right? And you said, "Oh yeah, we don't have that restaurant anymore." And I remember coming into work, and Joey was getting grilled. Like they came after the station. They got mad at you because it's potential dollars lost.
So I didn't realize this, and I probably wouldn't even put this person through something like this, but the boss at the time made me go to Quiznos
That's right. I
and
remember that.
apologize. By the way, these people inside of Quiznos have no idea, for one, who I am.
They probably didn't hear it.
They probably, you're right. And two, they're like, okay, are you going to order a sandwich or what are you apologizing for? I had no idea why I was apologizing. Little did I know, 6 months later, they would eventually close all their locations in town.
I know. That was so sad. Thanks, Joey.
I see.
I
So
liked them.
you can blame Quiznos closing on me here
Yeah,
in
it's
Las
all
Cruces.
Joey's fault.
Quiznos, if you want to come back,
Joey welcomes you with open
I will
arms.
be there. I will do a broadcast for you guys, and I will talk about how delicious your sandwiches are. I completely
With that weird little
misspoke.
character. Remember that weird little character with the
Yes.
weird eyes? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be the new weird
He'll
character.
dress as a mascot.
One of the things, guys, when you interact with us, and I'm so excited because you've probably been hearing over the last month and a half us talking about $2.5 million. We recently talked about $2.5 million is what the average American feels that they need in order to live comfortably in 2024. So I thought, Jackie, I'd ask you, okay, with $2.5 million, say someone that's listening to us finally decides to say,
Someone very sweet and gracious.
someone great, Beyonce's listening to us and says, I want to give both of you $2.5 million. I want to ask you, what are the three things you are going to go out and buy with the $2.5 million?
A new Jackie.
Okay.
I'm talking like hair, everything.
So Jackie
Actually,
2.0.
no. You know what I would do? I'm saying this because he's helping us out right now. I would get Martine Taylor Swift tickets.
Because that's about $2.5
He
million
was trying
right
to win
there.
this contest, and it's within our market, and he was disqualified for it. So you know what? He deserves it, don't you think?
I would go halfers with you on
Okay,
those tickets.
there we go.
So that way you don't have to use your whole $2.5 million.
Right, because that's how expensive they
So
are.
new Jackie, some Taylor Swift tickets for Martine. What else would you get?
And some more lowriders for Jim.
Okay, so more cars.
Yeah.
Look at you.
You're right.
Jackie's
Winning
like-
wife point.
You know, she's like, okay, I'm gonna. What low
He
rider you
wants
want?
all the cars. You know what? No, it would be a garage for the cars because
Okay.
that's what we have trouble with. There's nowhere to store the cars.
Thinking smart. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so garage, new Jackie, and
See,
Taylor
there's
Swift.
something for me, the new Jackie, and there's something for Jim, and then my friends.
Okay, well that's a half a thing because I'm gonna split the Martine thing with you.
Or
so what
an
would you
army
do?
of those 12-foot skeletons. 'Cause I only have one.
Okay, so you want to have an army of
I
skeletons
want
in your
everything.
yard.
Why do I just choose 3 things for $2.5 million?
I mean, you're gonna
I
have
mean,
some money left over.
Right, I know.
But $2.5 million can go a long way. I mean, a lot of your budget is going to be
Robo
cut.
Jackie.
There you go. So we're going to have the Jackie 3000.
Or
that will
maybe
be
some like designer platforms, or actually you take over because I'm going to have a whole list of
here.
stuff.
Okay. So I was thinking about this, and I realized that in the time that we've always said that, I want to get a boat.
Oh, that's right.
I
do
really
want a boat.
do want a boat.
Yeah.
And I've always said that if I ever became a millionaire, I would put this boat at Young Park.
You know, you can park it in my garage that I'm getting.
There you go. See,
There
I have
you
a place to
go.
store it during the
Right.
winter. But I've always said there's going to be definitely signs that I became a millionaire. You're going to wonder why there's this yacht just at Young Park floating around with the ducks. I mean, they're going to figure out a way. They're going to have to structurally figure out a way for it to stay there and for me to be able to go and hang out in it. I mean, I'll invite people. We can have, carne asadas on Saturday.
Why
and
can't
stuff.
you go anywhere but Young Park?
Yeah, I just kind of thought that would be the best thing. Can you imagine the headlines, or people that even come to town? They're like, "Did you know there's a giant yacht that is sitting in
Joey.
this park? Who does it belong to?" Well, it belongs to the guy that's on the radio.
So you want a good story.
I do really want a good story. I want a memorable story, and obviously, gonna have to cut in half so that way we can get Martine. You know what? I'll pay for Martine's flight to go see Taylor Swift.
Okay, there we go. We split it in half.
Martine, if you want to go overseas to see her, we'll cover that. We'll make sure that's covered.
Sounds good.
But then the grown up in me, and I thought about this. I would make sure Maddie was taken care of.
That's
I think
good. Yeah.
I would buy a house for Maddie. Just
That's
a house
smart.
for Maddie. I wouldn't tell him about it though.
Yes. Wait
There would
till he
be
gets
this
more
house,
mature.
and he wouldn't know about it.
That's
And then when
awesome.
he's older, and then just randomly, just like, oh yeah, by the way, you should go to your house. Well, I am home. I'm at home, Dad. No, you have your own
That's
house. I want that to be a
awesome.
big surprise that it's like a whole house.
Okay.
I mean, it's not gonna be nowhere near me and Cindy
Then you
because when
need
he
to
turns
win.
18, Cindy and I need our space. We let him go live on the other side of town. But yeah, no, I would buy him a house, never
That is
tell him about
awesome.
it, and then that way, whenever he's older, be like, oh yeah, by the way, I bought you a house long ago.
Dude, that's awesome.
So, and then it'll probably be a man cave for the longest time until he's older. I mean, there's gonna have to obviously someone's gonna have to live in it.
Okay,
at the time.
Doug Heffernan, you're gonna go live out.
It's kind of like that, right?
Oh my gosh, kings and queens. That's exactly what that's like. You have an apartment somewhere else, y'all living there. Well,
It's like, where
man
is-
cave.
Where's Joey? Oh, he's for some reason he's always in Messia. Like, don't know
Right.
why he's doing there. And I guess I'm buying a
Dude,
house in Messia.
it's hard to buy them in Messia. You know the whole
Oh yeah,
process.
no, never mind. I have to look for a different place. Guys, before we wrap up today's episode, I thought we would do story time with the Big Show.
Okay, story time. Bring it on. What
All
are we
right,
talking
so
about?
story time with the Big Show takes us back to around the time that TikTok was going crazy over a guy drinking some cranberry juice and riding his skateboard to work. Everybody saw that video. Everybody tried to imitate that video. We had coworkers to try to do their own spin on the video. Jackie and I decided to take our own version of
Yes,
this
we
video.
wanted to do this. It's so bad. So we went to Young Park. There again, Young Park. Yeah,
See?
we like the park.
We could have been hanging out in the yacht and
Yes.
then filming this video.
Yes.
But we decided to take our own take. So what we did is we got one of our little carts. They're like one of the little
They're like little wagons. Like they kind of had cloth on them, but you pull them for equipment. But we had one of those, and thankfully, it did not break on me.
Oh, well, thankfully you didn't break
Oh, yeah,
on
I
us.
know,
That
that's
was another
true.
thing. So we're going up this hill, and the premise of this video, and you can actually still find it online somewhere. I'm pulling this cart with Jackie in it. We're going uphill. The problem with that is I didn't realize that I was lifting the front wheels of this
And
cart.
I am drinking the cranberry juice, and I bought off-brand because we ain't rich. We
Yeah.
got like Surefine or something. It was some cranberry juice that we didn't know. We just bought it at a random
we
gas
were looking for
station.
sponsorship opportunities with that
Right.
brand. We
We're like, we
figured
could put your logo here.
we figured Ocean Spray was already spending their money with
Right.
another guy.
They were with Nathan, right? Is
Yeah,
his name?
we'll figure another brand. So as I'm pulling this cart, I realize that I'm lifting these wheels and I'm going up. Well, when I go to turn around, I let the cart go.
I flipped over, hit my head so hard, and my cranberry juice just goes across the whole way. It just slid so dramatically. And Martine is on the camera. There's Martine with the shenanigans. He's always when we're causing trouble.
Never broke footage, right? He
I
made
would've
sure he stayed
cried.
on the camera.
Had he broken, didn't catch that moment, I would have cried.
The cart is literally on top of Jackie. This cart completely flips.
My
It
head
looks-
folded in weird.
It looks like a car has rolled over in a bad accident. The cart is
so
on top of
dramatic.
Jackie. The Ocean Spray, the Great Value brand
I don't
cranberry
think it was
juice.
great value. It was that
It was the
Generic,
Chaffa.
yeah,
It was
Chaffa,
really
yeah.
Chaffa bread. Is going down this hill. I'm trying to pick up Jackie.
and you just hear me, "Ow!" I freaked out so bad. And then I look up, and there's some people in the park, but I didn't think anyone saw me. And later on, when we posted a video on Facebook, there were some city workers we watched the whole thing go down. It was so embarrassing.
And ever since then, those park workers, whenever they come across us, they're like, wait, you two are the ones that flipped that cart.
It was
And
so bad.
You're the ones, and we really thought she was hurt. They were ready to call EMTs
Yes.
because the way that you hit and fell.
It was hard. It was so it was shocking to say the least, but it was so funny how it just unfolded and how the juice just totally went away. It was so funny. We'll have to share that video again sometime
we'll
soon.
find that video one day and relive that moment of Jackie.
I'm not going to hit my head again, dude. That was a
Jackie
one-time only thing.
almost died for a TikTok.
Yeah.
And we got pretty good response from it, though.
We really did. We got a lot of shares. I was really happy.
Thank
Our
you
one
for
almost viral moment.
the one almost viral and almost the last moment of the big show.
Right, some head injuries.
It almost all happened in one moment, and we're thankful that
Right.
we're here to tell those
Yes,
stories.
exactly.
So thank you for listening to
We
our
even had a
stories.
skateboard with us for some reason. I don't remember. I think we were going to try skateboard. We ended up just doing the wagon.
Yeah, and just because I mean, I wouldn't want to disrespect skateboarders out there because I mean, I am not no point trying to get on a skateboard. I don't know how to skateboard. I really don't, and I don't want to.
We'll
come
have
across as a
Jim help
poser.
you.
Yeah, he could. Well,
He'll help you.
probably not right now.
Not
probably
right now.
In the near future.
We'll work up to it. Well, he can't right now, yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Big Show on the FM, the podcast. Don't forget to follow us on our Instagram and our Facebook page. The Big Show on the FM on Facebook. Of course, that is our new Facebook page. Of course, getting you all the content from our episodes, and you can stay connected with us on the Instagram, Big Show FM. There you're going to see, of course, clips and all kinds of other cool stuff. And remind people to subscribe to check us out.
Yes, and interact with us. Interact. We have questions. We will answer you.
That's right. And don't forget that you can catch episodes every Friday on YouTube as we premiere our episodes on Friday. And also follow us on Spotify as well.
Yes.
Don't forget to check out the podcast on Spotify and all your other platforms where you listen to your podcast. Again, this is The Big Show on the FM. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And, of course, we'll check you guys out next week.